How's it going, everyone? It's Sam. Bitcoin always explodes when this one thing happens. I want to talk about it, show you some really interesting charts, talk about the news. We do have BlackRock buying a lot more Bitcoin, yet the price is kind of staying stagnant. I'll tell you why that is and why that's going to change here soon. Before we get started, though, if you don't mind, hit subscribe, turn on the bell notification underneath the video. Like I always say, if you haven't turned it on yet, just do it, because there are going to be times where there's breaking news. We're getting into a very bullish time in the market. There's going to be breaking news, and it can make a huge difference if you have that bell notification so you can see the news and go act on it. There's also a link down there to Margex where you can trade cryptocurrencies. Again, we're going to get in this very bullish time. I mean, just next week we have earnings reports, and a couple years ago during the bull market, we had large companies start to buy Bitcoin. You don't want to miss out on that. And if you have something like Margex set up, if there is some kind of bullish news like that, you can get in quickly and leverage how much money you can actually make. So check that out underneath the video. I think this is one of the best platforms, and they do have a deposit bonus right now as well. Also, while you're down there, last thing, we just had a nice long conversation on HGAccess where we talked about all things in the crypto market, talking about where we saw the market going. This is with myself and a bunch of other influencers, and we do get reached out to all the time by projects. We are even working with someone that was in on Myro, like as a strategic investor in Myro, and holds a large amount of the supply, like one of the larger holders of Myro, which has now gone up to a $200 million market cap as a meme coin. So if you want access to that kind of information, you can check out the link underneath the video. Now, as I said, crypto in general today, not moving too much. I mean, Bitcoin's right in that same range, 42.4. We are getting news, though, that BlackRock has been buying. BlackRock ETF now holds 25,000 Bitcoin. I mean, that's a large amount. That makes them one of the top holders in the world, probably top 100. Obviously, they're holding it for clients. It's not like they themselves own all that Bitcoin. Like, they don't own it as a company, but they're helping people invest through that. You might be saying, okay, well, that's great, but if they own so much Bitcoin, if they've been buying all this in the last few days, why the heck has the price not been going up? Well, it's because of this unwind. Grayscale sends another 10,000 Bitcoin to Coinbase for the third day in a row at US market open. This continues to happen. We continue to see Grayscale unwind because people are just not wanting to put up with that large amount of fees that they are charging over there. So we continue to see this unwind. Now, keep in mind, 10,000 Bitcoin is about 2% of how much Bitcoin they have. So they continue to sell. I would assume there's going to be less selling pressure day after day because the people that want out would be more likely to get out now than they would in a month. Like there's just an opportunity to get out now. So unless you're waiting for some tax reason to get out at a different time, like these are probably the largest inflows for the first few days that we'll see. Of course, we'll see more inflows over time, but it will slowly trickle down. But the interesting thing is there will be an inflection point. Like there's only so much Bitcoin in GBTC, but the demand for Bitcoin will outpace the amount of GBTC. So there will be that supply shock at some point. I would not be surprised if by the halving, BlackRock owns 100,000 Bitcoin. I would not be surprised at all. And that would make them own about half of what MicroStrategy owns. And they've been buying for years. So this is going to be interesting to watch. Now, we've talked about how well these ETFs have done just in general versus other ETFs. But this shows how well they're doing just compared to like some of the top ETFs in the world right now. Not when they launch, but just like VOO in general. VOO has $375 billion worth of assets. So they're massive. They're 400 times the size of IBIT. And IBIT is almost getting as much in inflows as VOO. Keep in mind, VOO is just like a general stock market index fund. It's just an S&P 500. So a lot of people, retirees, are just buying that consistently. Imagine if IBIT FBTC continues like that, continues to get these similar inflows. Like it could be $100 billion asset, just one of these funds after years and years of people putting money in it. And keep in mind too, as Bitcoin goes up, the AUM is going to go up a lot. Like, okay, VOO If the S&P 500 goes up 10% a year and they get some inflows, okay, maybe they grow 12% or something like that. But Bitcoin, if it goes up to 100,000, these AUM are going to more than double, plus whatever comes in inflows. So that is something to pay attention to as well. These are getting massive amounts of inflows right now. Now, Bitcoin always goes up around this time in the cycle to about 6 to 8 months from now. Like the halving is about 3 months away. This chart shows a lot. I've shown it before, but it shows the halvings, it shows all-time highs, it shows bottoms. Basically, we are right in here. We're in the first month of the year. Halving is about 3 months away or so. It should be like right in this time frame, like right where my cursor is. So it's about 3 months away. Right after the halving, we typically don't see all-time highs for a little while. If you just look at the last 2 cycles, it takes about half a year to start seeing all-time highs. And then we hit all-time high after all-time high after all-time high. Then there's a little bit of a pullback for maybe 2 to 10 months. And then we hit another all-time high. This has been consistent. About 22 months from now or 20 months from now, we usually hit all-time highs. And then a year later, we see bottoms. So this is a bullish time in the market. Like after we see this halving happening in 3 months, this is typically where we see massive inflows and see people buying up Bitcoin and we hit all-time highs. I honestly would not be surprised to see all-time highs before we've seen them in the past. I would not be surprised if we hit an all-time high this year because so many people are paying attention and we have gone up a lot even before the halving. I think people are just generally likely to buy faster because they don't want to miss out on the train. And we have seen that even last cycle. We had all-time highs a little bit earlier. Now, compared to the halving, it's been about the same time period no matter what. But I would not be surprised, as I said, if we saw all-time highs by end of year. This is another chart by the Rational Root that just came in today. The 4-year cycle, including realized price dotted lines, aligned with today's date. So this is today's date versus all the other halvings. Yeah, we usually go sideways for a little bit after the halving, maybe down, sometimes up a little bit, but generally stay in this range, and then we break out. Again, like 3 months after the halving or something like that, 6 months after the halving, and we go in double or triple or quadruple, 5x, 10x, 20x. That's generally what we see. So that is what we always see. After the halving, we have this very bullish time, so be ready for that. I also want to show a really interesting chart too. I had this conversation with a couple other influencers. If we had to buy Bitcoin or altcoins for the short term, what would we buy? And I said, basically, I think Bitcoin's just safer. With the amount of money I put in Bitcoin or into the crypto market, I would rather take the safer 2x than a riskier 3x maybe in something like Ethereum or some other altcoin. But I have started to invest, to be clear, in other altcoins as well because I am diversifying a little bit. I think there's some huge upside in some of them. But I just wanted to show this chart. Going back to some of my thinking, like, yes, I am heavier in Bitcoin than Ethereum and some altcoins, but this looks pretty bullish. This is the Ethereum Bitcoin chart. Going back all the way back to August of 2022, this is where this downtrend started. We have seen nothing but lower highs and lower lows, essentially. Even here, like we saw a peak that was about the same, and then we hit a lower low, and then we continue down and down and down. So Ethereum has just been underperforming Bitcoin. But here, we double tested this bottom, and we moved back up above this trend line, and we're moving up. We're still at a couple of points where we have had some support in the past. I would love to see a little bit more to the upside or us retest this trend line and then move back up. But this is bullish. There are also some narratives for Ethereum right now in general, which we have the new EIP update that's going to reduce tax fees a bit as well. We have maybe the ETF narrative for Ethereum, which I think that's way out, but still people will get excited if that looks more likely to happen. I would not be surprised if Ethereum did quite well from here on out, but also we're going to have inflows from these ETFs that will actually matter maybe a month down the line. Once more investment advisors to talk to their clients, that takes time for them to feel comfortable talking to their clients about adding positions in something like a BTC ETF, they don't go call all their clients or mass email them the day of and say, you need to buy this, I'm buying it for you. It takes time. So we'll see more and more inflows, and eventually that scarcity will actually take effect and push up Bitcoin's price. I also think, though, that Ethereum will look pretty bullish at the same time. Now, I think dominance does look like it's moving up as well. You can see here, we double tapped here, and we're starting to move up again. We do have a lower high, though, here. So I'm paying attention to all this. I am mostly invested in Bitcoin, but I do like to invest in altcoins as well and to watch the altcoin market. One other crypto that is risky, it's risky. I'm just going to say that. I've talked about it on the channel before, is moving back up. So Sync, I've talked about this. I know other influencers have talked about it. It's got like a flywheel effect as to why you'd want to keep staking your Syncus tokens. It went up. It was up over 100% since I got in. It had a pullback. Someone sold a bunch of Sync tokens. Keep in mind, this is like a $10 million market cap, fully diluted $30 million. So it's still small, but now it's made a nice little recovery. It's starting to move up, and this is a pretty strong project with a lot of strong backers. Altcoin Gordon says Syncus earned $140,000 today, making it the fourth highest earning protocol on Ethereum, above DYDX and Aave, still only at a $25 million market cap, so much higher. He posted about it. Syncus DAO liked it. Keep in mind, I'm not getting paid to say this or anything like that. I actually hold the token and I'm paying attention to it. This, I think, was a good sign to me that it just hit like the same level that had bounced off before, and now it's starting to move up. So whoever sold this large amount here just sold, and it didn't freak out the market, which is awesome to see on a smaller cryptocurrency. Now, of course, do all your own research. I'm not telling you to buy anything. All I'm telling you are my thoughts on the market. Again, if you want to check out Margex, there's a link underneath the video so you can trade cryptocurrencies. Also, there's that link to HGAccess as well, where you can get information you can't get anywhere else. And I'll see you in the next video. Appreciate it. Bye.